And you're welcome back to The Pulse. Food may be a hard business. More than 10% of people worldwide are hungry. 25% are overweight or obese, and another 25%, of course, suffering micronutrient deficiencies, whether they are underfed or overfed. Food is more than just something to consume. Long before food reaches the grocery store shelves, the manufacturing process unleashes a slew of elements that influence the length and quality of life on Earth. Forests are cleared to make way for the agricultural space. Then the atmosphere warms. Diversity is systematically reduced. Buffers that protect humans from animal-borne viruses such as COVID-19 are then removed. Soil and water are contaminated, and plants and animals are infused with some dangerous substances. So with a global population projected to reach 10 billion by 2050, it is not unreasonable to ask that question. How are we going to feed all of these people? I mean, given the projection that we have, and more to the point, how are we going to feed these people without causing more danger? And that's why I want to have a conversation with Dr. Sheila Oshugbozu, who is the Executive Director for Alliance for Science, joining us now in studio. Doc, it's such a pleasure to be talking to you. Welcome to Ghana, by the way.
Thank you very much.
I'm just wondering where we've gone wrong as a people. Where do you feel the problem is starting from?
You know, you're starting from a very negative premise, but let me start from a slightly different place to say we as humankind have done an extraordinary job in living this long and growing to the extent we have. We have had across the world a green revolution. We learned how to grow our food. We learned how to grow it at scale. We learned how to grow it despite challenges, kill pests. And so, first of all, let's recognize that we as human beings have the ingenuity to feed ourselves. You're eating today 3 times a day because there's a farmer in Ghana who is able to grow food despite very little support, inputs, etc. That farmer is still feeding you sometimes on less than an acre a day. So let's recognize where we have gotten from our ingenuity, from our own scientific endeavors. Where we need to do better, let me not say where we have gone wrong, where we need to do better is that we need to be smarter about how we grow our food. The rest of the world grows industrial qualities of food. You said a little bit earlier, some are overfed, some are overweight in the global north. Yes, because they have an excess of food, they have an excess of choice. We in the global south, that's Africa, Latin America, Asia, we still are largely hungry. We still are largely food insecure. Interestingly, though, Ghana is one of the few countries that hunger is not as bad as it is.
Much of a challenge, right?
Yes, because you had good policies. So that's one part of a solution. You had a government that valorized farmers. You have a National Farmers Day. You understand the value of food and agriculture in your economies. But there are external shocks that stop us. Climate change, wars, COVID-19. And so those challenges are global. And so where we have gone wrong is perhaps in not being agile enough to flip. Agility is what we need to survive the modern age.
That will be a key factor that we'll need. But I just wanted to pick up on one of the factors you were talking about, which has dominated global discourse, the issue about climate change.
Yes.
How much of a factor is it, looking at the issues of food security?
It's huge. I think you touched on it, but I know in Ghana, every year, at least 45,000 people are affected by floods. And affected meaning their homes are washed away, their farms are washed away, their livelihoods are destroyed. Every year, that's a lot of people. And they don't just pick up the next year and recover. So, they're taken back perhaps about 10 years in their recovery. And then, apart from floods, you have droughts, you have pests. So you have all of these challenges, and you have a very vulnerable coastline that is being eroded. So encroachment on the sea is onto land is very significant. You see it. So climate change is real. It's having an impact. We can't ignore it. We are adapting to it, but we're not adapting well enough, fast enough. But one thing we're advocating for in terms of food security, the one thing we can control is the quality of the seeds, the quality of the inputs that the farmer puts in the soil. The soil may be flooded, drought, disaster prone, but we have agricultural technologies that allow us to mitigate against that. So we have now new varieties that are pest resistant, strain and also drought resistant, and we use those are from agricultural biotechnology from researchers right here in Africa, right here in Ghana.
Right.
Or WACI, West Africa Center for Crop Improvement, has over the last 20 years brought about such innovations. They've trained over 150 PhD plant breeders who are doing precision breeding for this. So what we are advocating for is that the government should put this good seed in the farmer's hands so that they have at least one less thing to worry about.
And that's what I would describe as sustainable agriculture. It's very crucial.
Yes, it is. I mean, you talked about it in your intro. Sustainable agriculture is, the seed is one thing, but you do know...
You need to go beyond that.
You need to go beyond that and realize that our weather patterns are variable. But we're now in an age where we know, we can forecast weather to a high level of accuracy.
What's likely to happen?
What's likely to happen? So we need to tell the farmers, you know what, this is going to be a bad year. You know what, there is a pest coming. There's going to be a swarm of locusts. And put things in place. Our problem is we're not agile, we're not prepared enough, and we're not agile in responding. Not that we don't have capacity.
Beyond government policy, there are a lot more stakeholders that must come on board. For instance, the Alliance for Science and other actors across the world. What's your expectation from them, by the way?
Well, we as Alliance for Science, what we do is science communication. We try to expand understanding of the options so that the farmers can understand what choices they have. We try to get governments to make those choices affordable, so affordable inputs. We try to say, okay, what is the ecosystem around the land? So what is the landscape? So you're looking at what are the climate challenges as this farmer is trying to grow, and what can the government do? Can the government start a mass tree planting campaign? Can they help to subsidize irrigation and drain? All those things that help the actual soil itself be healthy enough for the farmer to make a living.
That's very necessary. But we're looking at the solution now, and I'm wondering which of the initiatives, for instance, will be much more of a priority for your side and for others to also consider while we make the effort at solving this global hunger crisis or issue that we're talking about. You're talking about, for instance, the Farmers' Day as an initiative that we have right here in Accra or in Ghana. I don't know what happens in other countries, but are there some initiatives that we should be, say, learning from the global north, even within amongst ourselves? What's there for us to consider?
Well, yes, we are an Alliance for Science, and we are advocating for evidence-based, science-based solutions to all of these challenges: climate change, hunger, food security. And we came here to recognize that Ghana has very early on recognized the critical role of farmers. You have a National Farmers' Day. The President talks about the Farmer of the Year. You've had that for a really long time. And because you have that visibility, it means that your policies are in place and that the farmers have some sort of a voice. And we want other African countries, there are not many others that have this. So this is why we started a campaign here. But on World Hunger Day, which was on Sunday, we started a campaign across 8 countries in the global south, so Guatemala, Bangladesh, Cairo, Senegal, Nairobi, Zambia, and all of them were having dinners, all of them were giving awards to farmers, all of them were saying we need a National Farmers' Day.
Right.
And that's the starting point of a conversation about what else do we need. Okay, once you have a farmer, the farmer then
Indeed. The global divide conversation, not just in the aspect of hunger, but also about science and technology, as well as innovation. That's a conversation that will come up as to how limited we are on the side of the divide.
We are, and it's not that the technologies are inaccessible to us. A lot of the technologies that we're talking about, as I said, WACI has been training world-class plant breeders here. It is for us to invest more in that. Otherwise, we are just markets for solutions that are outside, that are not specific for our problems. We have problems of, say, weevils in cowpea. Ghana recognized this and brought about an improved strain of cowpea. So farmers are benefiting. Nigeria did the same. The commercial PBR cowpea is an improved variety that is pest resistant. Farmers are richer. They're not spraying their crops every year. They're not getting the toxic chemicals in their body, and they're getting a better harvest. So we advocate for science solutions that solve our problems. Otherwise, you're importing solutions and retrofitting them to you and paying a premium because you're importing solutions. Science is open. These technologies are open to all that want to use them and deploy them.
Finally, will Africa eventually move out of hunger?
I live for that day, and I personally made a commitment that I will not stop until I see hunger end in my lifetime. I grew up in rural Nigeria. I didn't leave till I was 10. And when I was there, I remember that every day as I was coming home from school, the only thought was food, what you're going to eat. Christmas, what are you thinking about? Not presents, food. Food was the thing on our mind. But why was it on our minds all the time? Because we were food insecure. We were not thinking of going to space. We were not thinking of becoming Beyonce or any of those sorts of rock stars. We were thinking of
it was more about the basic need.
And food. Once you make a child's world such a small thing, the focus of my day is that I eat. How can I focus on my education or anything else? So we need to take that away from this generation. In my lifetime, I do believe we will end hunger.
We should.
We will.
Inspiring. Thank you, Dr. Sheila Osuigboju, for joining us here on The Pulse.